Okay, thanks James. Wow, this really is crystal ball time. I've got about 10 minutes just to provide some thought-provoking material for you to ponder, consider, and look at the consequences of what the future might look like. So, let's start by considering a basic choice that people will need to make. They can either disengage or they can embrace technology of the future when visiting the great outdoors. If they decide to disengage, the choice is relatively straightforward. They can simply not take any technology with them, leave it at home and go off and enjoy nature. But if they do decide to embrace technology, what will they do? So here are some of the emerging trends that we're seeing at the moment. So, you can see on the screen, so they'll perhaps use it to help them navigate around. So as James mentioned, we've got our very own OS Maps app. That's kind of leading the charge at the moment. People don't need to take paper anymore. They can simply take an app and go around. That's encouraging a lot more people to get outside because we're taking away that fear of getting lost. It's got a little red dot and a little arrow on there to know exactly where they are and which direction they're going so they can follow those maps. They'll also be potentially looking to help record their visits. We're seeing a lot of people taking photos at the moment, the rise of the selfies, across and sharing with lots of friends. They could use it to use immediate identification, so perhaps what's that tree, what's that bird song. We're seeing growth in those types of apps emerging as well. And also recording to databases, perhaps flora and fauna surveys, which helps obviously from a conservation perspective. We're also predicting and seeing early signs of gamification, so lots of geocaching moving online, lots of treasure hunts and apps being developed in that area as well. I think importantly, we'll see a big growth in education and apps helping young people kind of go through and understand a little bit more about nature. And obviously, we're not predicting a decrease in growth in fitness monitoring that we're seeing at the moment, so everyone with their Fitbits looking at their 10,000 steps a day and their cadence. So if we take a look at some of those in a little bit more detail, what's going that look like in practice? So if we take a look at navigating, there are plenty of apps around at the moment which allow people to navigate, many of which have offline capabilities, so you don't need a phone signal. But the technology can still locate you and keep you on a route. We have our very own OS Maps app which does this, but there are lots of tools already here. So what about navigation of the future? Well, perhaps we'll see a split. Perhaps we'll see people that want to use paper, and perhaps we'll see a lot more people that want to be able to use navigation aids on their computer. Okay. So there's a little video running there of what technology might be able to do, or what it's actually doing now, but it's what it's predicted to do in the future as well. We're seeing big growth in moving away from just straightforward navigation to more of a kind of an entertainment and education factor. So that one there was just showing the app that we've got, OS Maps, showing 3D routes on tabletop to give people a lot more information around perhaps the height of the route that they're trying to do and the terrain that it's going in. This is a digital terrain model that's split over a aerial technology. We're also predicting lots more information coming through on maps, which is really, really interesting, but clearly I'm contractually obliged to say that. The growth that we're seeing with augmented reality, for example, so the picture in the middle, where you can use your phone to actually overlay other information from a camera viewpoint. So in this example, we're looking at holding the phone around to get a better sense of navigation. It can bring through all of the hills, all of the summits, all of the towns, all of the lakes, lots more information, and you can click on those little tabs on the screen to actually take you to a web page where you can find out and learn lots more about those towns. So we're also looking at potential growth in gaming and education. So games are likely to also be an important part as children are growing up in a gamer's world. The idea of combining games with an outdoor aspect is sure to appeal. Educational apps are also beginning to emerge, teaching children about different aspects of the outdoors, identifying flora and fauna, example. In America, actually, the research is showing that the kids that go with these games are actually playing them a lot longer and a lot harder and learning a lot more information. So they're certainly aiding to that trust that's being developed with children and apps and learning about outdoors. You can see again some of the augmented reality ones where unicorns are appearing in the middle of forests. I know Forest England have got some apps in that area as well, and they're proving to be quite successful. So, but a lot of this technology that users will need to rely on will actually rely on infrastructure. So you can imagine a citywide system of smart parks where visitors are entering parks from their homes or urban workspaces, remaining seamlessly connected by Wi-Fi to their devices and by extension their families and work responsibilities, as they enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. Park users learning about and registering for park events and activities from smartphone apps and interactive digital displays. Children playing longer and more vigorously on smartphone playgrounds linked to gaming apps on their parents' phones, which have potentially been fully charged by solar-powered park benches. Other kids of all ages using Pokemon Go-like apps to engage with, learn about and develop a connection with the outdoors, all while developing a lifelong love of parks and nature as play. We shouldn't necessarily view technology as the enemy. Can we view it as a companion to help encourage more people to get outside? But this surely can't happen here, not in the national parks, and certainly not in Dartmoor, can it? That infrastructure, the little kind of masts that we see for 5G enabled roaming? Well, it might. So this year, Vodafone announced that they will start trials of 5G technology in 7 British cities in the coming weeks. So Cornwall in the southeast England and the Lake District National Park in the northwest, 2 regions poorly served by existing coverage, will receive 5G during 2019, probably 2020. There would appear to be a very significant push to even up the broadband coverage across the country, where many rural areas are suffering both socially and economically because they either have slow access speeds or non-existent. So there's a very clear push from these very large companies to even that balance out a little bit and provide 5G to everybody in whatever area. So, what technology will people use? So imagine your fitness tracker vibrates on your wrist, but it's not because you've reached your 10,000 steps goal for the day or because you received an email. Instead, your tracker is warning you that your blood pressure is high. Your doctor has seen this stat in real time and they want you to de-stress. As wearables, it can happen, as wearables continue to become more common, more medical uses for these devices will surely be developed. And interestingly, it's that type of audience where these medical devices are being aimed at are also very common within national parks. So it's likely to happen, and by extension, they'll use these devices in national parks. Also, glasses are an obvious method. These are wearable, but they do not need to look like glasses, and so they do need to look like glasses and sunglasses to allow you to have different experiences with them. Most of the glasses at the moment that are on the market are scratch resistant, they're water repellent, they have different lenses so that they get in tint and so on. But interestingly, they are very, very smart, and they're not just about the future, they're actually here now. So I've got a pair. So these, and to forgive my Irish friends that hope I don't look too much like an Egypt, but these are very, very smart glasses. So from a technology point of view, there is a very small camera on the arm here that projects an image onto the lens. So you can see the bottom right-hand corner. At the moment it's showing the time and a date, but it can also show maps. It can show turn-by-turn directions. It links up with Alexa on your mobile phone, so you can start shouting instructions at it. It also links up with Spotify, so you can play music. It's got a speaker in there as well. So there's lots of these going to start to emerge. So Google Glasses was something several years ago, but nowadays you're seeing some very high-end glasses, and Bose in particular are very, very keen on these. So I've tried a pair of those on where the sound is directly amplified into your ear, and the person stood next to you just cannot hear the sound at all. So these things are coming. And for us as Ordnance Survey, these are quite a unique thing to be able to look at for us, because as we're walking around in national parks, we don't really want people to be looking down and staring at their phone for directions or information. So if you can have your head up and look around and take in all the sights and sounds as well, and get the critical information you need to navigate, that looks like a good bet for the future. So what does this mean for us? Well, it's probably going to mean a lot more connectivity in outdoor places, potentially the use of 5G networks. That'll have a knock-on effect for better maintenance planning, paths, infrastructure, SSIs. I think Professor Brett was talking earlier about having that idea of being able to track people in real time where they are. Well, with the OS Maps app that we're developing, we're looking at kind of heat mapping technology to be able to track users as they go through on their walk, so we will be able to provide that information in the future. That'll help with maintenance. We're also likely to see increased resource management skills from animal sightings and logging from people within their apps. What's the effect on the rural economy going to be if we put 5G in? Likely to have a positive benefit. But from a practical viewpoint, does that mean we're going to have to get into staff training and encouraging people to actually go through and use a few more digital products? So in terms of the implications for visitors, I think as we've seen this morning, more people coming into the natural environment, but with a use of technology, is likely to lead to further pressure on car parking spaces. There are going to be consequences for people clearing those up. You may then even start to look at air quality issues as well. And who knows, even solar-powered park benches might be a thing of the future. But importantly for us, this is about having content that's delivered to people when they need it. So in the national park, so what is that tree? What is that bird sound? And then as a consequence of that, they're going to be staying longer. So how will you use the tech of the future to deliver your messages? Is anybody ready? I'll now hand over to Ian from Devon Scouts.